Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. It is great to see you today. Are we on? I think we're on. I have some kind of a lag. Hopefully you do not. I'm going to keep going and say, welcome back. It is great to see you. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I am definitely having a problem here. So um, let's see. There we go. Linda, great to see you. I'm having a serious lag. When I just went to log on, it said 11:32. There's something. My computer's doing something. It's stuck in a wrinkle in time, I guess. Linda, great to see you. Flory in New Jersey. Linda, I can only see your thing so far, and I can't. It says 0 viewers. So I am having a thing on my end. If I start to get more messages, Kirsten, good morning. If I see stuff coming through, there's obviously some kind of a plug in my system, but hopefully I am working. If you can, let me know that you can see me too, because I have got a great show today and I don't want to squander it. Um, let's see. Yeah, it's doing. Is it all right? Okay, I can't really see anything, but to be continued. I'll just keep going, and I will assume that sooner or later I will be able to see something. So today is an exciting day because I ordered from Canada. Judy, good to see you. Okay, good, super. Tried me. You have okay, excellent. Carol, good to see you. Okay, Kathy, great, perfect. All right, good. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, it was weird. It was saying 0 for a while, but yeah, but then it was saying I was live. Don't understand technology. I wrote away to Remy Levesque, who did that wonderful project at the Barachois Church in Canada, in Nova Scotia, all of the cushions. Now, if you are in the US, you probably know, all good, you probably know this project as the USA 50 because we're so American centric in the US, aren't we? Um, there was this push to complete all of the U.S. states, the 50 states, and we talked about it a lot. We talked about it a lot on the show. We kept putting the word out for people to cover states that weren't covered yet, and and I think we got there in the end. I think he got all 50, but they are there. And and there were cushions there from Canadians too. If you're wondering if my hair is green, it is. Let's just ignore that until I have time to fix it. But yeah, so there was a lot of other cushions there besides the USA 50. And Remy ended up putting out this beautiful book. It's like a catalog. It's like almost like a souvenir catalog, quite thick at that. It's like a magazine weight of the 1826 Barachois Historic English Church and all of the cushions that are in it, including ones that are made by Canadian friends. And in this episode, we're going to look at the book together. Melissa, great to see you. Good morning. Speaking of Canadian friends, good morning. Ryan, great to see you. Happy Wednesday from North Texas. Peace and love. Good. It's starting to look normal now. I'm all of my Gosh, I wish you could see my dashboard. I mean, you would be so impressed that I was able to navigate with this kind of a dashboard. There's all kinds of levels, doing things while I'm talking and things flashing and lighting up. And it's like I'm a disc jockey, right? It's like that, in my mind, it's that kind of confusion and complication. But this is a beautiful book, and I wrote away to Remy Levesque to get it. So there is a Facebook group for the USA 50. Actually, it's for the whole project. It's for the Barachois Historic Church. Um, but I'm friendly with him anyway, and we've emailed each other. So I wrote to him when I heard that there was this book published. I think it's a limited publication. So you might want to look for Remy, Remi Levesque, Levesque, on Facebook or just on Google. And see if there are any more copies left. If you enjoyed this episode, and I'm sure it will spill over into future episodes. So something to think about. I was really impressed. It's a fun book. It again functions as a brochure or almost like a playbill for this amazing project, right? It's tons of rugs. It's tons and tons and tons of rugs. So let's look at it together today. Dave, great to see you. Sunny and dry in Toronto. Fantastic. Sue's hello in Kansas. I love the little Christmas tree and the Santa. Rita, great to see you. You have two cushions in there. Fantastic. We're gonna look at the American cushions probably next week. I have I have Vermont, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. I'm dying to see the other one. I haven't even looked at that part of the book yet. Saving it, saving it. Carol, good morning, and Kathy, Judy, Ryan, Melissa, Sharon, Dave, Suze, Rita. I think I said hello. Sharon, I don't think I said a proper hello to you in rainy Vancouver. Hello, good to see you and welcome. I had a bumpy start, but I'm better now. It always gets me when I have a bumpy start. I'm not good. I'm not good with shakeups. So 1826, this looks like a beautiful church. This is certainly on my list of things to do in Canada in 2024. This looks absolutely amazing. But let's start the book and let's talk about the premise of the book. It's in both French and English, as one would imagine. So let's look at the introduction together. It's beautifully written. It's just such a friendly sort of come together, unifying kind of a project. It's a massive scale group project. This picture of Remy, I should have put that one. I've put pictures of him in past coffee times and cocktail times. It was one of our crossword. He was one of our crossword, or the church was one of our crossword answers. I think on our last, ooh, on our last. I'll come back. Don't worry. It takes time, doesn't it? Come on, you. Brrr. Lots of technical stupidness today. I'll come right up to you, and then you'll really see it's blue. I'm not kidding. It's blue and green. All right. I hope I'm good. There we go. I think we're good. Don't want to make you seasick, right? Blurred vision. So it is beautifully written with a beautiful history and everything. Let's start with the introduction. I want to read to you, or at least paraphrase what Remy has said, so that you know what this project is if you haven't heard of it before. If you're new to rug hooking and you're a beginner, well, there's a church in Nova Scotia that has close to 300 artists, pillows within it. And we have talked about it before. It is something you can Google. They are sitting on the pews in their respective places by number, and the book goes by number 2. Really fun, right? It goes. You see how there's like numbers on the sides, so you can almost navigate it like a floor plan, or like the Dewey Decimal System. Where you can look it up and figure out exactly where a specific cushion would be. Oh, Anita, great to see you. Hello in London, Ontario. So the introduction starts like this: hooked cushions from around the world. This project was born from a photo. The photo became an idea. The idea became a dream. And the dream became an exciting creative adventure thanks to the generosity and involvement of the rug hooking community. This mysterious and unknown underground community is vibrant with creative energy and spirit. What a beautiful way to put that. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Close to 300 artists embarked on this adventure, a modern chore in an era of social networks. Fantastic. The general public is likely unaware that the Barachois Historical Church, an old whitewashed church in New Brunswick, Route 133, will be 200 years old in 2026. This small church is among the oldest Acadian buildings still standing on its original site. Here comes a stupid question. I thought the church was in Nova Scotia. Is it Nova Scotia? Are we still talking about Nova Scotia? Is New Brunswick still Nova Scotia? Because I thought Nova Scotia was like a province, and he's saying Acadian, and I think, isn't Acadia a different I am awful with Canadian geography. I am so sorry. I was brought up in the U.S., right, for the most part, and I only know U.S. geography. Isn't that rotten? Help me out with that one, my Canadian friends out there. In the spring of 2017, the Preservation Committee of the Barachois Historical Church had 2 challenges. The first one was how to inform the public of the bicentennial of the church, a rare and important anniversary for such an old building. And secondly, because of the upcoming 2019 Congrès Mondial Acadien CMA, the committee wanted to present a unifying event that was both artistic and historically significant. It was a while examining a photo of benches taken from the second floor that the idea of the hooked cushions came. If you've seen that one, I wonder if that's in the book. There are pictures online and on the website and on Remy's Facebook. Now I'm getting a real spoiler alert looking at all these. You know what? I'm going to show you this picture. This is what he's describing. Being up in what sounds like the choir loft and looking down and having the sort of seed of the idea, oh, what if the whole church was filled with cushions, right? And this is now the reality. How fun is that? The church is not far from you. Acadians are found in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Okay, so Acadia is not a province. It's not a place. It's a culture. Am I getting that right? New Brunswick is different than Nova Scotia, another province. Got it. No, New Brunswick. Okay, catching up. I'm learning. Hold on. I gotta lock this in. The church is not far from me. You are right about provinces. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I mean, talk about a brainchild, right? Talk about it's more than a seed of an idea. It's a massive brainstorm. Um, I love. I'm not done with reading the intro and some other parts to it, but I just love the idea. Whenever I hear this kind of an epic type story where someone comes up, I love the way he described it too. Like it was an idea first. Let me see. It was a photo, right, from the thing looking down, and then it became an idea, and then the idea became the dream. Kind of like Russian nesting doll, right, and going from leveling up, in my son's terms, from one thing to the next, and then people start making them, and then it becomes more of a reality, and then it becomes a fulfilled dream. I mean, I love stories like this. This is a great story. So let's see, wanted to do a unifying event. The idea was to replace the old cushions. Interesting. Left on the benches by spectators attending events since the creation of the Viola Legere Hall in 1980 by hooked works of art. Okay, so there were cushions there. Interesting. I'm sure these are much better cushions, right? Without a doubt. At the time, the committee thought that a collection of 50 hooked cushions would be feasible and would certainly arouse the interest of the public. Dum, dum, dum. In July 2023, the 315th cushion was added to the collection, a true international adventure. The collection, like others across America, proudly celebrates the volunteer work of artists in hooking. Rita, what states did you do? I forgot to ask you. It exemplifies their community spirit and sense of solidarity, their creativity, and their energy to collaborate to meet a challenge. These artists are mostly women. What is even more fascinating is that for many, the Preservation Committee's dream had become theirs. Everyone had a reason to get involved, and it created magic. Many artists paid tribute to their ancestors, a family member, Acadian friends, a colleague hooker, history, the art of hooking, or just for the cause. Let me just catch up. Melissa says Acadian are a group of people who were driven from the maritime provinces by the English because they would not pledge their loyalty to the British in 1755. Acadians have an... Oh, I remember reading about... distinctly and very small. I remember reading about that. I remember reading about that in one of my rug hooking books. I'm wondering, it must have been one of the mission books. I'm going to have to think about which one that was likely to be. It could have been the Chetty Camp one. I don't think it was, though. I'm going to have to think on that because I remember getting like a one-paragraph history of that. And then I remember in one of the coffee times or cocktail times, somebody did a rug. Oh, wait a minute. Was it Rachelle LeBlanc? It might have been Rachelle LeBlanc who did a rug that was about the sort of, I don't want to say exile. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't have a good enough handle on the history to know if it was like an exile or if it was like fleeing from. They're slightly different. Rita says, you had number 187 is mine as well as 258. Rita, are they state ones or are they other? Is it another category or is it the state ones? Interesting. Oh, Diane, good to see you. All right. Hey, I was asking for Canadian history. I've got to lock this in, Melissa. I've got to lock this in. All right. So it turned into a rather large project. Very impressive coming together, right? So in August of 2019, during the CMA, we celebrated the opening of the collection with great fanfare. More than 100 hookers who had participated in the project were present, a true family meeting. More than 1,000 people came that day to celebrate with us. God, that must have been a great day. August of 2019. I feel like that's before I even got involved in it. I feel like I got involved. I feel like I got involved in 2020. I think I did my cushions in 2020 because I feel like it was the COVID year. I'm not sure. I mean, my memory is, it's possible that it fails me, but I think so. I'm not sure. So, in other words, many more cushions would follow, right? Since then, thanks to the interest of American hookers involved in the initial project of the 200 hooked cushions for my 200th, for my 200th, a second project. Okay, here we go. The USA 50 started, whereby each American state was to be represented in the collection. In the spring of 2023, we received spring of 2023. That was this past spring. We received the 50th American cushion. Woohoo! In September 2022, a third project was launched in Japan by a hooked rug teacher. She encouraged her students to create a cushion with a Japanese theme for the Barachois International collection of hooked cushions. 13 of her students, as well as herself, embarked on the adventure. I didn't even know this part. The realization of these last two international projects, as well as the addition since the 2019 opening of the cushions from Australia, Guatemala, Brazil, England, Scotland, France, and the United Arab Emirates, and maybe even Mexico, Peru, we're still going, and Ireland definitively seal the international status of the Barachois International Collection of Hooked Cushions. This is a much bigger project than I thought. The initial objective is nearly 6 times achieved. What an achievement! That is 6 times over is an achievement. The little old white church is grateful to you in capital letters. All its builders and all, God, I hope this isn't going to be a tearjerker, and all the ancestors of the region say thank you. In 2026, the Barachois Historical Church is celebrating the 200th anniversary. Let's be proud. Let's celebrate our history together. The updated version of the catalog highlights the rebranding of the collection, now named the Barachois International Collection of Hooked Cushions, and includes all of the cushions received between August 2019 and June 2023. Oh, I choked myself up so easily. Just the idea that this little church is having this major renaissance and all of this attention and events. Oh, it's just the sweetest and best thing. Um, and then it's signed by Remy Levesque, the organizer and curator of the Barachois Church. All right, so then let's look at, hang on, the Barachois Church looks like this too. It's in the book, right? Pretty little white church, little whitewashed church, as he said. Isn't that gorgeous? Pictured as a stone church. It's probably because I've only seen pictures of the inside of it. Um, okay, in focus. Rita says one is one is for the first round, not state. Oh, interesting. And Melissa says expulsion. Okay, expulsion is the right word of the Acadians. Okay, thank you. I knew I didn't have the right word, but I didn't know what the right word was. Thank you. And Rita says second is my state, Michigan. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, so let's see. I want to look at some of these rugs. I just want to be sure. Let's just read this part. I'm a stickler. I like to be a completionist here. So let's just quickly look at the brief history of the church. In the fall of 1824, Barachois residents initiated the construction of a church to replace a small chapel that had existed since approximately 1804. With the generous help of the community, the frame was successfully erected. Work continued up to the fall of 1826. The existing facade as well as the steeple was erected in 1884 and the actual sacristy in 1900. The church combines different styles of that era, but particularly the architectural style of the Acadians. Some details could possibly go back to a period prior to 1755. In 1974, when the new church next door was inaugurated, the doors of the old church were closed permanently. In order to preserve the historic church and avoid its demolition, concerned citizens of Barachois and surrounding communities formed a committee to restore and preserve its heritage. The church museum was opened to the general public in 1981. Since then, the building includes a museum, 2 art galleries, and a concert hall. Oh, wow. In addition to having become an essential cultural gateway in the southeastern region of New Brunswick, the historic monument symbolizes the perseverance of the Acadians and the enhancement of our Acadian heritage. This building would be the oldest Acadian church with its original structure and will proudly celebrate its 200th anniversary in 2026. God, what a great story. Oh, God. And then there's a page of different groups. This is all, well, the top pictures are from 2019 groups. These are from 2019. You're not going to be able to see everybody close up, but just want to show you what the book looks like. Groups of people who participated. And then down here, um, hookers, like in French, hookers plural, du bordello. Hookers du bordello. That sounds exciting, doesn't it? There's that specific group right there. I'm sure I'm massacring that. And Island Matters Rug Hookers. Island Matters Rug Hookers here. So some groups of rug hookers who participated as groups or as chapters in the compilation and the realization of this project. Now, many, many pieces. I was wondering how there could be a book with so many rugs in it, right? And it's because it's several projects. It's not just the one. Let me just put the light on. It feels terribly dim and gloomy in here. Um, oh, you know what I forgot to tell you about? This guy. This is going crazy right now. Just pause before we look at some of our slides of the Barachois Church. This is the little rag rug I did yesterday. I did a video, and I will put the video up. I need Jocelyn to help me with it. And she was too tired this morning to work on it, and then she went to school, but I need her to help me speed parts of it up because I actually made this on the video, and it was super fun. It's actually knotted. I'm going to show you all this on the video on the back, just with slip knots, right? So this product came out last night in ribbon candy hooking. I have to say it is almost sold out. It almost sold out by the morning, which is fantastic because I ordered a whole bunch of these. I haven't got it glued in yet, but it is a wooden base that is tree shaped, and it goes into this, right, which is like little wooden stand. And I was initially going to paint it. I'm kind of glad I didn't because I'm really liking the way it looks bare like this. But I just have a bunch of cut up braided wool, like those rondelles of braided wool that I've had from so many other projects. And I fooled with it for a good long time, as you can imagine, to get the shape of it nice. But I have to say, this is going to sound very immodest, but I have to say, I like lots of different styles of rag rug trees, and I am going to do some videos in December of other styles of easy rag rug trees to do. But I have to say, of all of the rag rug trees that I've done, this is my favorite style so far. And sometimes they look, to my taste, a little too raggy. Like I love a good Charlie Brown tree, right? Obviously, who doesn't? But sometimes they look a little too raggy. This to me looks really substantial and pretty. Um, and so a lot of people have ordered it this morning, and I already put a reorder in of a few dozen more. So I should be fine. I will be able to get all of your trees out. And then the first wave, everybody right now who's ordered one to date, plus maybe another 10, I will get out today. I mean, the next 10 orders. And then after that, it'll be like 2 days before I get them again. And then I'll send the next wave out. So it's going to be very soon. But I'm very happy with it. And it can be ordered just as the stand with the wooden tree in either 13-inch or 16-inch. Or it can be ordered as a kit. And then I would give you tons of, like twice as much material as I used for this tree, but already cut to width. Right, and then the video will come out as soon as Jocelyn gets home from school, and she can do it for me. Is when the video will come out. So something to look forward to. I'm very happy with that. I have to say, I think it looks really proper little tree, proper little whatever. Oh, you ordered 3, Rita. How fun! Second state is Michigan. Um, your tree. Oh, thanks. Thank you so much. I really love it. I didn't think it'd turn out that good, to be honest. I thought it would be a bit more straggly. But the key to doing this tree, and you'll see in the video, the key to doing it was to like overload the back. Like you can see I really overloaded the back. Wherever I could, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strips just on this bottom half. So in theory, 14 on this tier. And then I wrapped the areas here that really aren't meant to be wrapped, but I wrapped them anyway, just so it was a bit more full, right? I didn't want it to be, all bald. I wanted it to be, I've been putting Rogaine right here myself, right? Nobody needs that. But I wanted it to be nice and full. And I even tied some on the bottom. You see how I tied some on the bottom? This is all in the video. I just kept going until it was full enough. There's no magic. It didn't look full, so then I added a bunch more. And then it didn't look full enough still, so I added some more. And then I was like, well, I need one more here, one more here, one more here. and I just kept adding them until it did look full, right? So it's one of those situations where less is not more is more. Charlotte, great to see you. Love that tree. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, they're all, I'm going to get them right back in stock, so don't worry about that. I'm loving that too. Let's look at some of these beautiful rugs. Now, we're certainly not going to get to the whole book today. That goes without being said. But we might as well enjoy some of the early rugs. I want to remind you, I did the best I could with the photography here, but I'm just going to show you the scale, right? I'm taking photographs from a book that they're quite small because there's so many of them. The book is chock-a-block filled with images. So I'm taking pictures of very small images. So they were as good as they could be, and I hope they're good enough for you to be able to enjoy them. That's the main thing. So, for example, this is in the first section. This is as soon as all the intros and all those things end. This is section number 001. And they go in odd numbers, right, the rows. So this one is by Sylvia Poirier, and she is from Charlottetown, IPE, Canada. It says IPE. Do you do Prince Edward Island differently in Canadian? Do you do like Isle of Prince Edward maybe? Because I can't think of what else makes sense. So this is, again, Sylvia Poirier, and this is called, okay, Prince Edward Island, PEI Lighthouse, right? So it must be Prince Edward Island, PEI Lighthouse. Um, yeah, it's reversed in French. See, I'm learning. I'm learning a lot today. But it does make sense. I haven't studied French since I was in the 12th grade, right? That was some time ago. And I do remember these kinds of swappies. You know, what killed my French was learning Dutch and living in the Netherlands. And have you ever learned more than one language and besides English, and had the experience, or besides your first language, had the experience where you have obviously your native language, and then you learn a second language. I learned French from kindergarten to 12th grade, so I was quite good at one time. And then when I moved to the Netherlands, I had to learn Dutch, and I wanted to learn Dutch, and it bumped the French out. So now when I'm struggling for a word, like I'm trying to say something or think something, the only words that come out are the Dutch words. The French words, I'm like, what's the word for camel? You know, like not camel, obviously. When would I ever ask for a camel? But you know what I mean? They're just not there anymore. So I got to get back into it if I'm going to take a trip to Canada. Very easy to learn when you're young. It was. And believe me, the nuns made sure that we were listening. So we learned really well. It's a real shame because it's not even offered. I'm not going to start. It's not even, I left the worst nastygram voicemail to the people at my kids' school this morning. They are just the absolute worst. The absolute worst. The message started like this. Hello, so and so, blank. I'm not going to say the name. I know that you're very busy, but we are all very busy. And so it wasn't good after that. It went downhill after that. But they don't even offer language in the school. Like not in elementary school, they're not even offering the language. No language. I mean, I just find I find that shocking and shameful. Because this is the time, right? It's not going to get any easier. Oh dear. Well, I absolutely love this piece. You know, it has such a charming look to it. The little lighthouse, right? It is just now it's going to be a small piece, isn't it? It's 40 by 33 centimeters. We're going to be speaking in centimeters as long as we're in this book, right? We're talking about centimeters. So it's all wool. It's a beautiful small piece. I love the kind of faux rope braid around, that frames it. What a beautiful, there's a few pieces in here that have kind of a rope braid around the edge. I think it's very, very smart. The other rope braid I saw might actually be by the same person. I wouldn't be surprised. Absolutely beautiful. I just thought this is just what it should be, right? Just like Remy was saying in the introduction, some of these cushions are about family. Some of them are about honoring the Acadian heritage. Some of them are about the place, like the actual place. Some of them are about history. Some of them are just because, right? This is one that seems to me to be about the place, right? Marking this beautiful structure on the landscape, this beautiful little lighthouse. Very, very sweet. This piece is by, sorry, some of these are dark too because I was trying to take them in the early morning light this morning. This is by Paula Kenny, née Vautour, and she is also from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. She's used recycled wool strips, and this piece is 39 by 33 centimeters. This is called Shells of Northumberland Strait, and she said she was inspired by the sandbars at low tide. Now, I think this is already a great episode in terms of inspiration because we're seeing subjects for small pieces that make sense. I think one of the worst things that I do to myself over and over and over again is try to create small pieces, right, that are small in size, in proportion, and put too much into them. I like the way that both of the pieces that we've seen so far, right, thoughtful compositions. This is a fantastic, exciting composition, very artsy, but really, really appropriate for a small piece, right? And the fact of being inspired by the sandbars at low tide. See, if I were going to do a piece, I would be stupid and be thinking, well, I've got to get in the skyline, I've got to get in the horizon, the water, a bunch of different kinds of shells, a few different colored rocks, right? Less is more, and it's hard to do, but you do get the feel of the water, of the waves, of the little ripples, right? The little sort of graduated lines that the water will leave as it comes and goes. It's just a beautiful piece. Really sweet piece. This next piece, another great design by Roger Pulver, and he is from Victory, Nova Scotia. This is 33 by 42. This is, guess what this is? Ah, this is polar fleece on linen backing. How great is that? Polar fleece. We have talked about this. I've done at least one video hooking with polar fleece. And by polar fleece, I mean that fleece, right, from Joann's, Michael's, whatever, that's on a bolt. And if you have the right coupons or, you have the right open sesame words or whatever you need, you get like a ridiculous amount off. It's very affordable fabric. Um, it's not a woven, right? It's completely a synthetic, but it's durable. It's got a lot of integrity. It's strong. It's inexpensive. It comes in lots of different kinds of colors and solids, right? It's very exciting. It's a great option for us. I don't think it's extremely durable. I don't think we use it enough. Polar fleece and on linen backing, fantastic. He's obviously cut it very thin, right? Because linen backing wouldn't accommodate a great big, 3/4 of an inch cut strip. So cut much, much thinner, but absolutely beautiful. And you can even see a lot of directional hooking here. This is the Nunavut flag, Nunavut. I'm sorry, I don't know that word. But it looks like it is a flag that represents one of the native cultures or populations, maybe in that region. Absolutely beautiful. It's a great graphic. It is really, really striking. Another great subject for a small piece. That is something that all of these are going to have in common. Let's look at the next one. Oh, this is gorgeous. Helena Bor from Grand Barachois, New Brunswick. This is 40 by 40, a little bit bigger. This has a little bit more detail, a little bit more storytelling. Cut wool and fancy wool. Knitted wool on jute. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So a knitted wool, I'm guessing, means tricot sur toile de jute. So I think that means cut up sweaters, a little bit of cut up sweaters. So interesting. That is absolutely beautiful. Sunset on the beach. Memories of days at the beach with my family. Oh, that really is fantastic. So I'm seeing like some seashells on the shore, a little boat in the distance, a beautiful warming sunset, and what looks like a pole sticking out of the water with a gull on it. These are all familiar things in New England too. Really, really lovely. This next one is by Aon McKenna and from Apahaqui, New Brunswick, 42 by 42 custom dyed wool strips plus chenille yarn and wool yarn. So, I have to say, Canadians, I always have to tip my hat to Canadians and to Brits, Australians, right? We do a lot less. In the US, we do a lot less with lots of mixed fibers, right? In other places, it has historically been right? I know probably if you're watching this channel, you are part of the exception because we have gotten in the last years crazy about using all different kinds of materials. But traditionally and historically in the US, just using milled wool, right, has really been the main thing. And, for Canadians, using yarn, but I think Canadians were faster to start using a lot of other fibers and lots of different types of yarn with different types of twists and finish and just different texture, right? So we are going to see quite a bit of that represented in this book. So this section is all Canadians, as I'm sure you figured out. This particular piece is called Hog Hollow. God, that's a great name, isn't it? Hog Hollow by Moonlight. I have represented the large century-old barn that stood on the homestead. That is just beautiful. I love the perspective of this piece. Um, it's like looking up at it. And the fact that there's so much vertical hooking really helps with that, doesn't it? You get a real feel for the size of the piece because the vertical hooking makes it extra grand somehow. It sweeps your eye right up. And then you get to the top of very distinctive barn shape, right? Because it has that kind of hip roof, right? It has the sort of gable on the top is what we call it in the US, at least a hip roof. It juts out and then it juts down at another odd kind of angle. Very distinctive farm architecture, right, for here and, well, all of North America, I think. But as soon as you get to the roof, you see that the direction of the hooking goes vertical and it sweeps. It's not I'm sorry, I was going to say horizontal, but it's not quite horizontal, is it? Because it sweeps you backward. And it really gives shape and form to the building. Isn't it remarkable how much form this building has? We're only seeing two sides of it, and it really is substantial in its shape and weight. That's a success. I like the variation in the sky too, right? The light coming down in the sky with little bits of the darker blue, and then more diagonal, different diagonal, right? Going northwest, either flowers or probably wheat. No, it's not flowers. It's got to be wheat, possibly corn coming up. Really, really lovely. And then a couple more little round details, right, that are kind of balancing each other. The cropped moon in the sky, which I think is brilliant because it's the same color as the wheat. And the two wagon wheels at the bottom are making just a part of a border, small little filigree motif at the bottom, just the two, right? And so in keeping with the idea of a farmy landscape, right? Just the sort of thing that you would expect to find outside an old barn, 100-year-old barn, old wagon wheels, right? Absolutely beautiful. It's just a stunning piece. Oh, this is another stunning piece. This is by another piece by Roger Pulver of Victory, Nova Scotia, 48 by 48, recycled wool on linen. Dragonfly, inspired by a cushion that had a dragonfly pattern. Well, this is just gorgeous. This reminds me so much of Louis Comfort Tiffany's dragonfly lamps, right? I'm sure that you've seen them. He made lots of beautiful lampshades that were extraordinary. But one of his motifs that is super desirable now are the dragonfly shades. Really, really beautiful. I think it's so clever to break the wings up into this beautiful mosaic, right? It really is magical. The dragonfly just takes on magical properties, doesn't it? Because it is rather, to be blunt, like it's a big insect. It's a giant bug. And when they come near me, I jump a mile, I have to admit. And then when I realize that it's a dragonfly, I relax a little bit because at first I think, oh my God, is it a flying cockroach? Is it one of these cicada things that come out every 8 years? It's going to get me. It's going to. I'm sure I told you years ago when it was a cicada year when we were at living on the Cape, and I was working at Dunkin' Donuts. Right, I was like I guess a senior in high school, and man, as soon as you got out of your car, you could hear them. You could just hear them. They were in your sleep. We didn't have white noise machines back then. This is like the 90s. And you could hear them. It was just constant. It was relaxing. And we knew that they were like harmless bugs, but they were enormous. And man, I would drive to work and they'd be hitting the windshield like, just splattering, right? And then you're like, ugh, and it's like all, And I went into work one day, I mean, it was very slow business the summer of the cicada because um, people did not want to get out of their cars or go to their cars because the bugs were, they would fly like in your face. I think they're blind or something. I think they are blind. I mean, they would just fly on your face and get tangled, oh, in your hair and stuff. It was just awful. But this one woman came for her coffee. She was a regular. And I guess one flew down her shirt or just like scuttled its way down her shirt. And she came in, and as soon as she got through the door, she screamed. She did one of these, just pulled her shirt. I mean, she just pulled her shirt off at Dunkin' Donuts. It's not, it was unexpected. It was unexpected. And everybody understood perfectly. It wasn't like anyone was like, God, she must be crazy. Everyone was like, "Ugh," because it was the summer of, man, dragonflies are nothing like that. But it doesn't help me feel better about it when there's a big insect, coming near. And Rita says, my first cushion was inspired by the First Nations people. Ooh, well, we're not going to miss that one. That's going to be later in the book. Rita, did you get this book? I hope you have this book because you have pieces in here. I hope that there are still copies of this as well because it's just fun looking at other people's work. I really love. So we've seen two from Roger so far, and they've both been blockbusters. This is just a magical piece. And again, what a fantastic motif, right? Really, really simple, but he's managed to make it exciting by doing this great hit or miss mashup in the wings and a little bit of blue highlighting. Isn't that smart? Isn't that so smart? Roger also did the one that was the polar fleece. So he's really in the habit of using really lots of different materials, right? He's not shut off to doing anything, right? He wants to like do scrappy stuff. He wants to do non-traditional stuff. Um, Brilliant. This is how you do it. Yes, you have the first book and the second. Uh-oh. I didn't. Am I holding the first or the second? And I didn't know there was another one. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to figure that out. I'm hoping this is the second and a complete one, but let me know. This is the second. Does the first have different stuff in it? Because I could write to Remy and ask him if there's more firsts. I didn't know there was one before this. I was so excited that I got this before they were gone because I know he had them at Solder this year, and I was afraid I would miss out. He was kind enough to hold on. Second has all. Okay, good. My heart rate just went down. It's got to be complete. Interesting though that there is a first. If I ever see it, I'm gonna get it just to have the complete Colazione. This is another beauty, Sharon Reshore of again Iqahuit. No, I think this is a new one. Iqahuit, Nunavut, Canada, 35 by 35, and this is all yarn. And this is an Inuksuk, and an okay, sorry, hang on. An Inuksuk stands on the shore of Frobisher Bay against the backdrop of Aurora Borealis. That part I've got. That is just beautiful. This is another one that has really thoughtful directional hooking. How interesting is that? And when I think about directional hooking being really pronounced, I think about Grenfell hooking, right? I mean, such small, little, perfect, tidy rows um, with a real directional thrust. And it doesn't surprise me that the Canadian style of hooking is still very, very thoughtful regarding what direction. You know, sometimes people tend to think like a typewriter and just go left to right as we read, at least in this culture. But it is interesting to see how many of these rugs, even so far, and including Rogers, the one before Rogers Dragonfly, had a lot of. I'm sure you noticed red directional hooking, very busy hit or miss background, but very strong directional. This one's got a very strong directional. I think that's really interesting because there are two styles in Canada to me that really stand out, and it is this very, very tidy directional hooking, super artistic. I don't mean to say it's just technical. It's certainly not. It's super, super, super creative and artistic. And this next rug coincidentally represents the other style, which is like the more, I don't even know, static, not in a bad way, confetti. Maybe that's a better way to describe it. The sort of Dion Fitzpatrick, the dit dots, the school of dit dots, right? I love this style of hooking. I love this style. I love both styles, and they are both really signature Canadian styles, right? There's something to be said for this, for sure. This piece is by Rolla Marshall of Shediac, New Brunswick, 38 by 33 centimeters, again, burlap and wool. Um, I wanted to I wanted to represent an old Acadian tradition firmly rooted in our way of life, the clothesline. The title of it is The Clothesline. Yeah, and this is a great motif to this day, right? Because we still see a lot of rugs that are typically done by Canadian designers that feature a clothesline. And I never think about this as being a Canadian thing, but when I'm thinking about it now, I can't say the last time I have seen a clothesline, at all. And maybe part of it is, hey, Goretti, maybe part of it is just the culture, at least where I am, of the backyard, that the sort of fenced in backyard. We have one too because of pup. But, maybe it is that we have more fences, that we're not just seeing like this open landscape, the wind blowing the laundry dry and scented and all of that romantic lore that goes with, a good day's work, right? But it absolutely is a beautiful piece. It's really, really funny and whimsical. It's colorful. I love that she's hanging a log cabin. She's standing in front of it because it's creating great relief in contrast to this pretty yellow dress. It's so cheerful, right? She's doing work, but it is a tradition, right? And it is a pleasure to participate in the work of the house, right? That was a bit sarcastic, but I didn't mean it to sound quite that sarcastic. It is a pleasure, particularly when you're outside in the fresh air, right? And you're doing something for the benefit of the house and the people that you love. Um, and she's very cheerfully dressed in yellow, right? Which arguably is the most cheerful color. So really, really sweet, really charming piece. These are all charming pieces. Now, here's another really pretty simple composition. This is another one by Helena or Helena Burke, or Bork, I'm sorry. Grand Barachois, New Brunswick, 41 by 41, hand-dyed cut wool and knitted wool. And knitted wool, I'm going to say, again, I think it's cut sweater material. Fancy wool, knitted wool on jute backing. The sound and the description is in French, I'm translating the beautiful moments of the summer. The sound and smell of the sea, the waves licking the sand, beautiful and surprising. Seashells are beautiful moments in summer. This is beautiful. They are beautiful moments. It is like treasure. It's treasure that you just find while you're walking. I mean, it really is fun. I'm a big one for sea combing. I know there lately you're not supposed to pick stuff up and you're just supposed to leave your footprints and nothing else. But I have to admit, I am a jerk and sometimes I take shells. And we have a curiosity like cabinet at home where like creating a curiosity coffee table with like curiosities that we find on walks and on the beach and when we walk in the woods. Lisa, good to see you. So yeah, I know if everyone did, I don't know. I was going to say what all of the propaganda says now. If everyone took something, there wouldn't be anything left. I'm not sure that that's true. Doesn't the ocean keep depositing many shells all the time? I don't know. I am not a conservationist. That's never been my world. But I love seeing seashells too. I really, really do. And I don't take everything because some things really reek after a while. Um, but we love to see treasures like this. This is a very cheerful moment in anyone's world, right? Now this next, oh God, I love this next one. I think this might be my fave. This is by Bernardet Bor. So same surname as Helena. Maybe family members, or maybe there are names that are more popular surnames in that region. But this is by Bernardet Bor, and she's also from. Oh, this has to be family. Shediac, New Brunswick, Canada, 35 by 40, various yarns. Um, and she writes, rug made for the 2004 Congrès Mondial Acadien. That's what he was talking about in the introduction. Inspired by an Acadian legend and students' drawings. Interesting. Oh, wow. See, I don't know anything about the Acadian culture, so I'm never going to be able to lock on the legend. But for me, this piece is really everything that I like about hooking. It has that primitive quality. It does have a childlike quality. I'm not surprised that some student strongs were the inspiration for this. I think one of the best sort of takeaways when you are using children's artwork is the color breakdown. Because, children do simple motifs like a tree and like a house, and they tend to be so, if not proportionally correct, the feel is usually right on, and it's uncanny. I don't know how kids do this, but it's uncanny. They don't overthink it. Maybe that's how they do it. Oh, Rita says many more shells and rocks. Just don't pick at national state parks and some state parks. Check the DNR laws. Michigan lets you pick 25% of rocks annually. Interesting. I didn't know that it was like set down in like legislature and things like that, which makes sense that it would be because you do want to know what you're allowed to do, because it's easy to walk on a beach and miss a sign. I never personally missed the sign of the great white shark that says like lots of shark attacks happen here all the time. I never missed that sign, but you can miss important signage. So that is good to know. That is really good to know, actually. We more than taking rocks, we tend to put rocks down. We have this really cute tradition in the family. My mom started it, where she'll collect like either rocks or small seashells. And over the winter, she paints them with like on one side with like pretty pictures. And then she brings them back to the beach where we have our summer vacation, and she puts them upside down in the sand. And we've never, I think maybe once out of the last 40 years, have seen somebody pick one up and go, oh, because it's like painted on the back and it's unexpected. Otherwise, we just have to imagine what people's reactions are when they pick up a rock and there's like a beautiful painting on the other side or a shell. I love it when she does that. It's super fun. It's a pay it forward, super fun thing. I have to admit, I kind of did the opposite of paying it forward last night because I took Teddy to the gym, and I reached in my hand to get my purse because he wanted to have a Gatorade, and I forgot that the stupid plastic spider from Halloween that's about this big was in it. I forgot. It has been in there since before Halloween. The kids put it in my bag, and I never throw it out because it's huge. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Throw it out the car window while I'm driving? I'm not going to do that. I never think about it when I'm home, and so I put my hand in and I took it out and I did one of the and I dropped it and I said, "Dang it! This thing is still in my purse." And I shouldn't have, but I took it out and I put it on the, I shouldn't have. The woman who cleans up, right, whoever the sort of custodian of the place, she had her cart right there. She wasn't in sight. She wasn't in sight, and had like the garbage thing, and there was like a lip around the edge of it, and I just put them on the edge. I thought, God, I wish I could see her like when she sees that, assuming it's a she, might be a he. Maybe shouldn't have. Hope nobody got hurt in the making of that prank. But I just wanted to get rid of it, and I thought, have one more scare for that spider. Kind of naughty. It was naughty, but yeah. But it's gone. I got rid of it. I really love this piece. I love this piece. And to conclude the conversation about what kids do that is so elusive, right? They pick out the motifs that are overly solid, right? Super solid, but usually quite accurate. And then they start filling in the background because their idea, they're everything for them. Life is right in the foreground, right? There are no nuances. There is no soft shading. It's like life is right in front of you, and that's what you get. And when you get older, you start thinking, I think, more about what's in front and what's behind. But kids just think about what's right there. And they tend to drop the motifs in this style and then start coloring the background. And because the background is usually a large, area, they get tired of one color and switch to other colors. And then you get this natural hit or miss. And I can see this done absolutely with crayons, right? And all of my kids have done this, right? They've done this always, all through the years. Other artwork I see pinned on other parents' walls and up at the school always has this crazy crayon hit or miss background, and it must be, all right, enough blue, give me the yellow. All right, enough yellow, give me the pink. And it does give us great inspiration and absolutely the same feeling as when we do hit or miss backgrounds in rug hooking, right? It's just interesting that kind of a fill is so similar from one medium to the next. Another beautiful piece. This is by Rachelle Poirier, and she is from Grande Digue or Dig Deek, New Brunswick, 43 by 38, wool on linen backing, cotton at the back, so it's backed with cotton. In memory of my mother-in-law, Cecile, who appreciated classical music and loved roses in particular. Oh, that is so beautiful, isn't it? So this again sort of harkens back to what Remy was saying at the beginning of the book. Was, you know, some of them are for people, some of them are for places, some of them are for moments in history. This is for Cecile, and I think that is just beautiful. Um, I'm gonna keep going for a minute. I wanted to get to the one that I used as the thumbnail. That was my goal. It's not this one. This one, Another Beauty by Emerise LeBlanc Nolan, and she is from Moncton, New Brunswick. This is 50 by 50, silk, recycled materials, and Japanese paper. Flourishing Acadia, it's called. I am expressing my gratitude toward our Acadian roots. We have overcome many obstacles for more than 200 years. Today, Acadia is flourishing and shines all over the world. Well, that is beautiful. That is really well written, too. This is a beautiful abstract piece. I think it is just gorgeous. Interesting mixture of materials, too. I can't see myself, but I'm wondering what parts of it are the Japanese. I have to investigate further. Um, Hold on one second. I'm going to see. I wonder if they're the kind of little pitted areas that are more sort of dit dots, the concentration. No, you know what? I think the rice paper is the red. What do you think? That kind of rusty red color, the tomato? That looks like, I mean, there is rice, I'm sorry, Japanese paper. I shouldn't have made the assumption it was rice paper. Sharon says, I have some Japanese paper, never thought of hooking with it. It is very fibrous, isn't it? I would just be afraid it was too brittle. But it's also very durable, right? So, hey, I mean, I've never heard of it either. I don't have any handy, but it is interesting. The surface that looks different to me, the texture is the red part. The rest of it looks pretty like recognizable fibers. It could be those multicolored parts, or it could be the red part. It's hard to tell. Sharon, let me know if you do start hooking with it. I'd be real curious. Maybe I should order some from Amazon and see how it be. This is another beauty. This is by Lucy Richard, also Moncton, New Brunswick. 33 by 35, 100% wool, recycled cloth and yarn on burlap. And she writes, my adaptation of the Acadian flag. Music has brought people together in kitchens over many generations through the toughest of times and the best of times. These are so poetic, the write-ups that people are doing. They're so poetic and very haunting. The writing is just excellent in this. You know, I can just picture, you know, Remy saying, like, could you send a little, you know, one sentence thing on the, and then someone writing and saying something beautiful like that, really. The, the last few, what about Cecile and Flourishing Acadia? I mean, these are just beautiful. The next one is another one of my great favorites. This is by Patty Colin, and she's London, Ontario. This is 40 by 40 centimeters wool strips, based on a window in St. Paul's Church that was damaged in the Halifax explosion of 1917. Oh my word, my parents survived the explosion. Holy Moses. Oh man, that is really something, isn't it? I have to admit, I don't know anything about the Halifax explosion of 1917. That sounds dreadful. God, it reminds me of the news. It reminds me of the news last night. How horrific is that? But her parents survived the explosion. Gosh, that is really beautiful. And I just love this piece. It does look like a stained glass window with a silhouette of a person, right? It is really haunting. It's very, very simple. It is just haunting. Beautiful. It has a ghostly quality to it. Um, and the window was damaged. So, what a great tribute to history. Again, categories of things that you might create a composition on to then contribute your work to the project of the church. One thing, history and family stories. We're seeing lots of very moving and monumental family stories being illustrated with the Cushion Project. I mean, this is just astonishing. I'm really getting a feel for the breadth of this project too. It's much larger than I thought. Oh, stop it, Melissa. Is it really today's its anniversary, December 6th, of the Halifax explosion? Oh my word. That just gave me the super shivers. Well, thank you for letting us know. That is a really incredible coincidence. I'm stuttering. That really is a strange coincidence. Judy says it was dreadful. Oh my word! Killed nearly 1,800 people. Now, what was the cause? What was the cause of the explosion? Gosh, 1,800 people. That is. I'm going to have to look this. I don't know this story at all. I'm going to have to look this up. This is shocking. Um, but in a weird way, I'm glad that we're talking about it if today is the anniversary, right? In a weird way. Um, maybe I'm going to stop there because that is a bit of a heavy note and a um, supernatural kind of twist at the end of the episode. I feel like the universe is telling us, let's stop there and think about it. I'm going to pull up a little bit more on that event, um, and we'll leave it there. I didn't get to the image that was the thumbnail for today by Rachelle Poirier, but we will do that in the next episode when we come back on Monday. Two ships colliding. Whew, one ammunition. Oh, wow. One was carrying ammunition. Um, Holy mackerel. Um, and what happened? Like the boats were like near the a harbor, and the church and the community was like in the along near the shore, near enough the shore, kind of a thing. Jane says two ships collided in the harbor, one carrying explosives. Okay, well that's it. Holy mackerel, that is unreal. That is just unreal. I can't believe I've never heard of that. It sounds like it was a while ago, but nonetheless, I feel like I ought to have heard of that. That's absolutely crazy. Well, December 6th, something to think about today. Uh, Coincidentally on the anniversary of. So we will leave it at that for this episode, but we will look forward to coming back to this book and continuing our look at these beautiful rugs in the Barachois Church in New Brunswick. And we will be doing that on Monday because what day is today? Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday, and we are having gallery night on Thursday. I know that is not our traditional night for having gallery night funds, but I am away this weekend with my family. It is our Concord, Massachusetts weekend this weekend. So this is when we do our annual trip out there, and so I will be doing that on Friday night. So I will be running our gallery night on Thursday night, and that is tomorrow. And I have lots of great content to put into the show, but if you have something you would like me to add, there is time. If you get it into me and I have time to add it, I will do that as long as it comes to me by tomorrow. The show is at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the next time I'll be back with you. So again, gallery night, cocktail night is happening tomorrow night this week, this time, which is a Thursday, right, at 7 p.m. same time Eastern Standard Time. And then I won't be with you on Friday because I'm with you on Thursday running the show. And then I'll be with you again next week for our normal sort of course of shows. It's a wartime tragedy. And Dave says one was on fire and drifted into an ammunition ship that was docked. Oh, God. Charlotte says, you be up by me. I'm in Acton. Oh, that's right. Acton is quite close. Yep, we'll be staying at the Colonial Inn in Concord for a couple of nights. I love it up there. I love it up there. I would love to live up there, but everything is completely unaffordable. Completely unaffordable. I can't think of an area that is less affordable than that area around Boston. It is so tough because it is so beautiful also. Fun. Thank you so much. Hey, I will see you all tomorrow night for gallery night. Don't forget, it's an odd night. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, Ribbon Candy Hooking. Like, thumbs up, share, all that stuff. Patreon supporters, thank you so extra much, always. I've been putting out the series of the Choose Your Own Adventure, for Jane Austen month, right? We're just getting into Jane Austen month. We're just opening the first days of the calendar. We have a lot to do with Jane Austen this month. Believe me, lots of original patterns coming out. And I am caught up and ready for the next installment based on answers people are giving. So Jane Austen is having a fictional adventure, and there's only been one so far. I think there's only been two excerpts that I've put out so far, but there will be patterns that go along with it and lots of conversations and projects as the month evolves. But in the meantime, it is a choose your own adventure, and I am posting it. Oh, I forgot to post the second one. No, I think I did. I think I posted it on the Ribbon Candy Hooking YouTube channel in case you are not on Facebook. So people are answering. It's like a choose your own adventure. You're choosing A or B. You read the excerpt of what what's going on, and then you choose A or B, and you hope that the adventure continues and nothing really bad happens to her that ends the story, which can happen. But instead of calling it choose your own adventure, I'm calling it elect your entanglement, which I think sounds like a much more Regency phrase than choose your own adventure. So I love the books too. I do. So be looking for that. That's a lot of fun. But next time I will see you is tomorrow night. So have a great rest of your day. I will be with you very soon, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you do want to send me something for gallery night, ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. Look for this tree, right? There's a few more of these before you have to wait a couple of days before it gets sent and I have time to restock. Rag tree going crazy. Beautiful, happy little rag tree. I will see you